By day, I was Amanda, the girl who quoted Plato in sociology class and wore the same worn-out combat boots since high school. I went to indie band shows in dimly lit basements and debated the merits of French New Wave films with an air of seriousness. But at night, locked in my room, the mask came off. I was Mandy Loves '03, and my world was pink, purple, and silver, full of light sticks, theories about the next comeback, and an almost religious devotion to 7 Korean boys. My public life was a carefully curated performance. At the campus coffee shop, I'd sit with my group of friends, Rowan and Jasper, and nod in agreement as they criticized manufactured pop music. "It's just noise for the masses," I'd say, my voice full of a disdain I didn't feel, while my brain secretly analyzed the complex production line behind a K-pop hit. It was at that coffee shop that I would see Ethan. He was a film major, always with an analog camera slung around his neck and the air of someone who truly understood art. He was smart, quiet, and had a smile that made me forget any philosophical argument. He was, in short, the perfect crush for the Amanda everyone knew, and the idea of him discovering my secret was my greatest fear. My sanctuary was my dorm room. As soon as the door closed, I'd pull off the obscure band sweatshirt to reveal a BT21 t-shirt underneath. My laptop, covered with cult film stickers, would open up to a world of fan cams, lyric translations, and passionate debates on online forums. There, the intellectual Amanda disappeared, and Mandy Loves '03 could breathe. I wasn't a casual fan, I was a stan. I would spend hours defending the lyrical genius of Min Yoongi, organize photocard trades with the precision of a military strategist, and feel a genuine, unironic joy that my circle of friends would never understand. My 2 worlds were perfectly compartmentalized, separated by my bedroom door. Until, on a Tuesday afternoon, my laptop, the bridge to both of my worlds, died. A black screen, a final beep, and then silence. The repair would cost hundreds of dollars I didn't have. I needed a job, and fast. The search was depressing. Nobody needed an inexperienced waitress or a part-time bookstore clerk. Dejected, I was about to give up at the shopping mall when I saw the sign. A new store with a bright and colorful facade was practically pulsating with energy. Seoul Station, the neon sign read. It was a pop culture store, a K-pop shrine, and in the window, a sign, now hiring. My stomach turned. It was the last place on earth I could work. It was a direct assault on the persona I had spent years building. But I was desperate. I took a deep breath and went inside. The air smelled of the high-quality photo paper from the albums and a sweet scent I couldn't identify. The manager, a slightly older woman, asked me a few questions. I tried to seem indifferent, but my encyclopedic knowledge of different album versions and the rarity of certain items betrayed me. She was impressed. I was hired on the spot. My first day was surreal. I wore a pastel pink uniform, the antithesis of my all-black wardrobe. As I organized shelves of albums by Stray Kids and 17, I felt the curious glances of the customers. Then I saw myself. In the reflection of a glass case full of light sticks, I saw a version of myself I didn't recognize. A girl in combat boots and black eyeliner, wearing a hot pink apron, surrounded by everything I secretly loved but publicly despised. My 2 worlds were no longer separated by a door. They had collided right there, in the middle of the mall, and I was terrified of who would get caught in the wreckage when the truth came out. Emotional narration of a teenage drama story. My new life became a juggling act. In the morning, at the university, I was Amanda, debating symbolism in film noir, and agreeing with my friends, Rowan and Jasper, that the new radio hit was painfully commercial. In the afternoon, at Seoul Station, I was the model employee, using my encyclopedic stan knowledge to help a mother find the exact album version her daughter wanted, or to explain to a new fan the difference between an official light stick and a second-rate one. And I was good at it. The manager, Jenna, a longtime fan herself, noticed my talent and started giving me more responsibilities. There were moments when a little girl would find her bias's photo card and her eyes would light up, And in those moments, I'd feel a pang of genuine joy, which confused me even more. The danger of my double life was constant. My friends would want to stop by the mall and I'd make up excuses. No, it's too loud there, I'd say. Let's get coffee downtown instead. Fear was my constant companion, and that fear intensified when Ethan, my film major crush, started getting closer. We had an incredible conversation after a class on German cinema, and he actually listened to my opinions. He was smart, sensitive, and to my complete horror, he told me he was developing an idea for a new documentary. It's about subcultures, he said, about the hidden passions people have that define them. Every word he spoke was a nail in my coffin. The first turning point, the day my two worlds almost crashed, was on a busy Saturday. I was at the register and the store was packed. My phone vibrated. A message from Rowan. "Amanda, you're not going to believe where we are. At that new tacky K-pop store at the mall. It's a treasure trove of bad taste. Had to tell you, we're laughing so hard." My blood ran cold. They weren't looking for me, they were heading to my workplace out of pure irony, to make fun of the place. The situation was, somehow, 1,000 times worse. And then I saw them. Rowan and Jasper walked into the store, their faces twisted in a caricature of ironic mockery, ready to sneer at everything. And as if the universe had a sadistic sense of humor, at that exact same moment, Ethan walked into the store from the other side. He wasn't with them, he was alone, looking around with the genuine curiosity of a filmmaker. My heart stopped. My friends, my crush, and my outsider secret, all in the same place. I crouched behind the counter, pretending to arrange something. By some miracle, a customer in front of me let out a sharp squeal of joy upon finding a rare album, creating a distraction that drew everyone's attention. Rowan and Jasper, bored, shrugged and left. Ethan, perhaps feeling the store's energy wasn't for him, gave one last look around and left as well. I had escaped by a thread, but I was shaking. That scare proved to me that the situation was unsustainable. In the days that followed, something started to change in me. I made a friend at the store, a regular customer, a younger girl named Lily. We both had the same bias in BTS, Yoongi. She spoke openly about how his lyrics helped her deal with anxiety, how the fan community made her feel less alone. Talking to her was easy. I didn't have to pretend. I could be Mandy Loves 03, and she saw that as something amazing, not shameful. For the first time, I started to wonder why I was so afraid of a part of me that brought so much joy to others and secretly to myself. That small dose of confidence was enough for me to agree to go out with Ethan. We went to an art house cinema, and the date was perfect. The conversation flowed, the connection was real. At the end of the night, he walked me to my dorm. "He had a great time, Amanda," he said with that shy smile that dismantled me. Then he continued, "You know, that documentary project of mine about fandoms, I think I found my focus." My stomach tightened. "That K-pop store at the mall, Seoul Station, I hear it's a huge hub for the local fan scene. I was thinking of taking my camera there next week, trying to capture some of the atmosphere, maybe do some interviews." He looked at me, his eyes shining with artistic excitement, completely oblivious to the terror his words caused me. This was the second turning point, the moment the floor gave way. He smiled and delivered the final blow. "How about you come with me? It'd be cool to get your outsider's perspective on it all." The invitation was a nightmare. A perfect trap, with no malicious intent on his part. If I refused, I'd seem strange and uninterested. If I accepted, my double life would be exposed in the most public and humiliating way possible, captured through the lens of the person I wanted to impress the most. That night, in my room, I looked at my BTS posters on one side, and a photo I had taken with Ethan on the other. I realized I couldn't have both. The wall I had built between my two worlds was about to be demolished, and I was standing right in the path of the explosion. Ethan's invitation wasn't a trap, but it sounded like a death sentence. That night in my room, the sanctuary that once protected me now felt like a prison cell. On one side, my sociology and philosophy books judged me in silence. On the other, the eyes on my BTS posters seemed to stare at me with an imaginary disappointment. I had spent years building two versions of myself, and now the boy I wanted the first version to know was about to discover the second in the worst way possible. My first reaction was panic. I thought of 1,000 excuses, a sudden illness, a last-minute family trip, but every lie seemed more exhausting than the last. The turning point came from an unexpected source. The next day at the store, the young fan, Lily, came in beaming to show me she had finally gotten the rare Yoongi photo card she wanted so badly. Her joy was so pure, so unfiltered, that it hit me with force. She wasn't ashamed of her passion, she celebrated it. And seeing her happiness, I felt the weight of my own performance. I was more tired of lying than I was afraid of the truth. In that moment, I made a decision. If my worlds were going to collide, it wouldn't be by accident. It would be because I lit the fuse myself. With trembling hands, I took out my phone and sent a message to Ethan. About your documentary, I can't go with you to observe, but you should come film on Saturday around 2 p.m. I think you'll find a much more interesting story than you're expecting. It was a monumental risk. It was surrendering control, but for the first time, it felt like the right thing to do. Saturday arrived like Judgment Day. Every minute in the store felt like an hour. I arranged the albums, my heart hammering against my ribs. Then the bell on the door chimed, and he walked in. Ethan was with his camera, his artist's gaze focused, capturing the vibrant energy of the store, the passionate fans, the colors. He started filming near the registers, and then he saw me. I was there, in my pink apron, explaining the difference between album versions to a customer. His eyes widened. The surprise on his face was total. He lowered the camera slowly, his confusion giving way to an intense curiosity. When the customer walked away, he approached, an incredulous smile forming on his lips. "Amanda?" he said, his voice almost a whisper. You work here?" I took a deep breath, the air seeming to return to my lungs for the first time in days. "Yeah," I replied, a genuine smile emerging. "Welcome to my secret life." He shook his head, laughing softly. "So this whole time, Play-Doh and cult films and—" I finished the sentence for him. "And photo cards, comeback theories, and a deep love for synchronized choreography. I contain multitudes." He looked at me, not with disdain, but with a newfound admiration. "Wow," he said. "This story is so much better than the one I was going to film." The resolution was my liberation. Ethan's documentary changed its focus. It became a project about me, about the secret Stan, about the complexity of our identities. We worked on it together, and with every interview, every shot filmed in my workplace, I felt lighter. The fear of his judgment was replaced by the intimacy of being truly seen. My friends, Rowan and Jasper, eventually found out, and their reaction was one of amused confusion, not rejection. The truth was far less catastrophic than my anxiety had painted it. The epilogue took place months later, in the small screening room at the university on the night of the Student Film Festival. Ethan's documentary, Mandy Loves 03, was an affectionate, funny, and respectful portrait, not only of my double life, but of the entire fan community. In the audience were my friends from the store, Lily and Jenna, and even Rowan and Jasper, who now looked at everything with a different understanding. After the screening, outside, Ethan and I were talking under the campus lights. I wasn't wearing all black, nor the store's uniform. I was wearing my own style, a comfortable mix of my two worlds. In one hand, I held a coffee. In the other, a Yoongi photo card I had just gotten in a trade. Ethan smiled at me. "So, who are you today? Amanda, the intellectual, or Mandy Loves 03? I looked at the card, then at his smile, and I felt, for the first time, completely whole. I said, "Just Amanda." And that, finally, is enough.